With the Australian Open 2026 all wrapped up, I thought it would be interesting to give out some awards for some of the best matches, best performances of the tournament. So today we're looking at the women's side. So first, we're going to do wins that shouldn't have been. As I've mentioned previously when giving out this award, this award is you take the stats from the match, you feed it into an algorithm, and you have the algorithm pick who they thought won the match. These are all the scenarios in which the computer picked the player the wrong player. First one is going to be Bai's win over Pavlyuchenkova in the first round with 3 sets. Giacomo win over the Kostic. Not surprising to see this one on the list. Han Stakusic in the first round. This one ended up having a walkover. Parks Iyala in the first round. The Iyala bagel in the first is kind of why this is on the list. Bartunkova, Kazatkina. We'll see Bartunkova again on this list, I'm sure. Siegemund Samsonova. Common theme here is, players that had a bagel in the match, but ended up losing. So we see that with Samsonova bageling Siegemund in the first, but then losing the match. Graba Cochiretto player that was playing very well in the lead up, and this was a surprising result. Bartunkova Bencic. So Bartunkova we got her twice because she won 2 matches where she got bageled. For her first 2 matches of the tournament, she had 2 bagels and she has 2 wins. So not too bad. Mboko Towson, this one was a very, very close one, tightly contested. And this is the list of all the matches and the all the way to the right where the PI column is the more negative the number is. So, for example, the Nikola Bartunkova Belinda Bencic match, that was the one that the computer or the algorithm was most strongly certain that Bencic was the winner of the match, but turned out Bartunkova was. And we'll get to this match a little bit more later as well. Breakout player of the tournament, some nominees. We got Madison Inglis, we got Zeynep Swimmez, we got Jinyu Wang, we got Bartunkova, and then we also have Eva Jovic. I think this is a pretty clear breakout player of the tournament. I'm gonna give it to Eva Jovic. Great work for her to make it as far as she did, only losing to Arina Sabalenka. I think a lot of people, after her big dominant results, were curious to see if she can even go on and win the tournament. Sadly, Sabalenka was able to stop her. But yeah, there we go. Eva Jovic, breakout player of the tournament. Now, upset of the tournament. We're going to start with first round, Soinmez versus Alexandrova, 11 seed. One of the biggest seeds to lose. I think actually the biggest seed to lose in the first round. Then Giacomo Kostyuk, this was a big upset because Kostyuk played really, really well in one of the lead-up tournaments. I believe it was Brisbane. I could be wrong. It could have been Adelaide. I'm pretty sure it's Brisbane, though. That Kostyuk was playing really, really well, had some really good wins in those matches, and was someone that could have been a dark horse, to be honest, to win the entire thing. Kostyuk was probably in my top 14 to 15 players that to win the Australian Open, maybe even top 10, to be honest. That's how well she had been playing. And this one, couple tiebreakers, and then of course Kostyuk had the injury late on in the match. Now this was a little bit of an upset. Svitolina over Goff in the quarterfinal. This was not only an upset in terms of the Goff loss, but also the way it was, how it was 6-1, 6-2, and then second round Bartunkova Bencic, as mentioned previously, Bartunkova getting bageled in the second set, but ends up winning the match. Now, I mentioned Kostyuk playing well. Bencic was playing really, really well. Lights out against good competition as well in the United Cup in the lead up. And a lot of people had Bencic as a dark horse to win the entire thing. And my winner for upset of the tournament is going to be Belinda Bencic with Bartunkova. I think we're going to even see this match again later on in the video. So for match of the tournament, got to give some credit to this Venus Williams versus Danilovic match. Venus played. Venus played awesome this match, especially being 45 years old and really playing a really competitive match. She really could have won this match. But yeah, I hope Venus gets one more Grand Slam win under her belt. How about this one, Osaka Kirstea in the second round? This one had a little drama to it as well, with Naomi Osaka chanting "Come on," and Kirstea getting a little bit mad about it. maybe a lot bit mad. And this was also the second match Osaka had the big dress pre-match. So yeah, so that was good match, competitive three-setter. Giacomo Costri. This was, I mean, he got three sets go to tiebreakers. This was just an incredible match. And then the final, Sabalenka Rybakina. This one was high quality tennis. Both players played well, and Rybakina just snatched the match at the end. And then this is going to be my match of the tournament. The level that it was played at, the clutchness of Rybakina, her perseverance as well. Being down in the third set to come back. I give more credit to Rybakina in this match than take away credit from Sabalenka. Really impressed by Rybakina in this one. Dominant performance tournament. How about Amukova's 6-1, 6-1 win in the third round against Magdalene Net? Yeah, the quarterfinal, Sabalenka versus Jovic. Jovic only winning 3 games, 0 in the second set. Definitely a dominant performance for Sabalenka. Similarly, in the quarterfinals, Svitolina over Golf with the 6-1, 6-2. And then my winner of this is going to be Iva Jovic's dominant win against Putintseva in the fourth round. Winning where Putintseva only won one game in the entire match. And this was the result that led a lot of people to think that Jovic can go on and spring the upset on Sabalenka, but that did not happen for her. But yeah, this was definitely an incredible down performance and a very deserving winner of this award. Now, some of the biggest what ifs of the tournament. First, I want to start off with kind of what I mentioned before. What if Kostic doesn't get injured in the first round? Now, it's not a guarantee that she would have won the first round match against Giacomo because the injury happened very late on in that third set, but it made it so that winning the tiebreaker was very difficult for her. Now, if Kostic were to have gotten past that first round match, would have been very interesting to see how far she would have gone. I think she could have taken the momentum, and I think she was a dangerous player in the tournament. Now, another biggest what if is what if Osaka doesn't withdraw from the tournament. I think this is big. Like this was the first one that I thought of because we were left. She played relatively well in the first couple of rounds. Had some good wins against some pretty good opponents. And it was getting to the third rounds. Latest stages of the tournament, and we kind of just were left with our questions unanswered about how well she was playing in this tournament and how well she really could have gone. Because I feel like there are a lot of opportunities and possibilities for Osaka in this tournament. But my biggest what if of the tournament, and Bencic is getting, and this match, Bencic versus Bartunkova is getting a lot of awards. This award series, but I think that's just how influential this match was. What if Bencic doesn't lose early? I put the draw up here because in the fourth round, she would have been playing against Rybakina, and I think that could have been a difficult one for Rybakina. We go, do some butterfly effect stuff, and what if Bencic wins against Bartunkova, wins against Mertens, faces Rybakina, defeats her? We could be seeing Sabalenka as the Australian Open champion. We could be seeing Brenda Bencic as the Australian Open champion, or we could even be seeing Iga Swiatek as the Australian Open champion because they wouldn't have had to play in the quarterfinals. We could even see Jessica Pegula as making the final. Who knows? I think this was a very big, influential match early on in the tournament. Now, some forgotten sneaky matches. Boca Towers, third round, two-seeded players. I don't know if it's necessarily forgotten. I feel like most people remember it, but two-seeded players, third round. It's always a little sneaky. Sviatek Kalinskaya. This was definitely a sneaky match as Kalinskaya, flipped the script in the second set. Wasn't able to get the third set, but maybe the competitive match. How about Svitolina Schneider? Third round match, against two seeded players where Svitolina first went into a tiebreaker and ended up getting the win. Sakari Andreeva, a little tough early round test for Andreeva against Sakari. She bageled Sakari in the first and really took it to Sakari. And I think this was a result that really increased the hype train for Andreeva and ended up being a little bit of a disappointing tournament for Andreeva. One that I think a lot of people had Andreeva winning the entire thing, and I don't think that's crazy at all. And a very sneaky one, third round, Jinyu Wang versus Linda Mushkova. Just a good, solid, really good win for Jin Yuang, a player that has been going under the radar, like last month, I would say. And, played well in the lead up and played well in the Australian Open as well. So, but my winner is going to go to Kalinskaya Swiatek. Third round match between two seeded players that was competitive, and you know, it was a good performance for Swiatek to end up closing out the win, but it was kind of a precursor for kind of foreshadowing for what was to come later on the tournament for Swiatek. Now, disappointments of the tournament. Belinda Bencic. She was, definitely disappointed to see her lose in the second round. Marta Kostyuk, who was in the first round. Emma Navarro losing in the first round definitely was a disappointment. And then Emma Raducanu as well, losing early. Now these two, we got Coco Gauff and Iga Swiatek as also disappointments. Less so than the first four, I would say, but I'd just like to mention them. Them sputtering out in the quarterfinals was definitely disappointing. So, but my winner for this disappointment tournament is going to go to Belinda Bencic, another award for her. And I think that's just because of kind of what I was saying before, that was playing lights out previously in the lead up to the Australian Open, and had her. It would have been very interesting to see Rybakina in a match in the fourth round, and I think a lot of people were thinking of her as dark horse. So her losing early was definitely a disappointment. All right, so that's it for the awards for the 2026 Australian Open Women's Singles Tournament.